Yo, what's up, fight fans? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. This is one of two actually that I'm going to be breaking down. I'm probably going to get the other one out tomorrow night, but the first one up on Friday night is the TUF28 finale, the heavy hitters edition that they've had of the TUF season. To be honest with you, this is probably the first season which I've not watched a hell of a lot on. I have watched a few of the fights with the heavyweights and some of the girl fights, so I'm not 100% clued in like I have been the last 5, 10, however many years it's been I've been watching TUF. But I've still kind of kept an eye out from a distance. I'm going to get through this one pretty quick. Tomorrow night I'm going to go UFC Adelaide, which I think is Saturday night over here in the UK, a very early Sunday morning. It's a little bit weird. I think it's Sunday in Australia, but everywhere else it's Saturday still, or probably still very early Sunday morning where I am. But yeah, we've got the men's final. We've got Juan Espino against Justin Frazier. I'm not going to really get into that too much. Espino beat Maurice Green to get to that final. That's the first one I'm going to talk about when I do get into it, just to get out the road. And then I think Panic Yansad is in the ladies' final, and her opponent will be announced through the week when that edition is through. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to all the people who like the content. And thank you to everybody who leaves positive comments, interacts with other people on the channel. That's what it's all about. Coming off Beijing, Ngannou's back. Ngannou's back. He looked very nervous in there, I thought, beforehand, but he needed that win more than anything. Got himself a big win. Chinese did well in the night. We've definitely got some people coming through. We've got that performance center that's going to be opening in Shanghai. So China's we're going to be seeing a shed load of fighters coming out of that region very, very soon. Still kicking myself. I did not bet Alistair over him. It was the very first bet I liked in the whole entire card, and I didn't bet him like a dummy. So a little bit pissed about that. But overall, feel decent card onto this one. I'm going to fire through it. And we're going to start. I'm going to start off with Juan Espino against Justin Frazier, which is the final of the men's heavyweights. It's not been great watching this year. That Justin Frazier's come in there. He was the last pick. He looked out of shape, like seriously out of shape. Last pick, kind of like Gastelum. Number 16 seeders went all the way in there. Or is it the top 8? It might be the top 8, but whatever. And was the last pick on there. And he's came forward and kind of won a couple of fights. Did better than I thought he did. He beat Anderson Silva. Then he beat Michel Batista, and Batista looked terrible in that to get to the final here. And he's facing Espino, who's just beat Maurice Green in the recent episode of TUF, where he caught him with a nice right hand, followed it with a left, and it staggered him, and then just kind of beat him up with ground and pound, and then got a rear naked choke. Honestly, it's kind of hard to kind of pick. I'm kind of struggling with. I don't know. It's just I think it's a flip a coin fight. Actually, I don't really see who's all that better. I don't think Frazier's that good a fight. I think Espino maybe is a little bit better, a little bit quicker than what Frazier is. But I'll pick Juan Espino to win a pretty kind of sloppy decision. But like I say, there's no real confidence in. But I just thought I'd give you that. And of course, that Pani Kianzad is in the final. Whoever she's against, I want Pani to win. I went to the Invicta fights in Vegas a few years ago. She won that fight. She recognised me from a Cage Warriors card I've been to, and we went to Buffalo Wild Wings and shared some stories there and for a few hours, and it was pretty badass. So I hope Pani goes on and wins the whole show. But like I say, I don't know who she's against yet, but good luck to her. So we're going to get started off on the card that I'm looking at right now, and that's Raoni Barcelos against Chris Gutierrez in the bantamweight division. This fight, if this is going to be the first fight of the night, this could be a banger. I fully expect other fights to be added. So there's another 2. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe another fight gets added on. I don't know. But we're starting off with Barcelos against Chris Gutierrez, and this one could be a banger. Barcelos, it's just a guy I really like watching fight. I think he's really solid. All around, he's got some power in his hand, throws with a lot of aggression, and he's coming off one of my favourite fights of the year against Kurt Holloway, where it was a back and forth kind of bout, and then that finish in the third round was absolutely beautiful. I thought he could have got it done a little bit earlier, and you could see the big kind of size difference from Holloway to Barcelos. and Barcelos came out there in the third round and put him out. And he's a guy that I think he's looked good in his last few fights, man. I mean, he was supposed to face Kevin Aguilar, Boston Salmon away back in the day, but those fights got canned, beat Bobby Moffett and Damaret, who are in the UFC. So just a solid overall guy. I think he's a black belt as well. But I'm not taking this Chris Gutierrez lightly at all. This guy looks really good. Big power, likes to throw in bunches. I think his footwork needs a bit of work, but he's a guy with that power that you need to be very, very serious of. He's a guy that I thought I recognised the name, and I went back and looked into his record. Seen Timo Valiev was on his record, and I'm like, yeah, this is the guy. He won the split decision, but I think Valiev should have won the fight, and then they rematched again, and Valiev won the fight. Kept denying him since then. Really good wins over Jimmy Flick, Ray Rodriguez. Like, he's predominantly known for his power. It's Gutierrez, and he's a scrappy dude. But last time out, literally 6 weeks ago against Ray Rodriguez, who's a black belt, went out there and rear naked choked him in the first round. I was like, yes, I like Ryan Barcelos in this fight. I think this could be a little bit of a firefight in Barcelos, who's making the jump down to 135 as well. So that's something you have to keep a little bit of an eye on. I'm going to pick Barcelos, but I see this being close, honestly. I'm going to pick Barcelos via decision, but I think he has to be careful, because with that weight cut, his chin might be a little bit more of a worry if he gets clocked down there. So, yeah, I'm going to go Ryan Barcelos via decision there. And moving on, so I move this over. Tim Means against Ricky Rainey. I've got Tim Means in this fight all day. I think he's going to eat Ricky Rainey alive. I'm trying to think where Ricky will have the advantage in this fight. And I think Tim Means is kind of petered out a little bit. Sometimes he rises to the occasion more than he does other times, but he's still super dangerous in a lot of aspects with his striking, clinch work, throws a lot of dirty elbows in the clinch, and it's just a really hard fighter to kind of get ready for, because you don't know what he's going to bring, except you know that he's going to be super aggressive, he's going to be in your face, but very vicious striking, very vicious clinch work. Needs this win pretty badly after coming off 2 splits against Sergio Moraes and Bilal Muhammad, which I think were kind of justified. So he needs this fight to kind of really get 2018 back in tow, heading into 2019. And like I say, I don't think Ricky Rainey's all that good. Muslim Salikov was really beating this guy up. Honestly, I don't think he should ever have been a UFC fighter. I really don't. I don't think he's wanted to be that. I've thought that since the days when he fought Michael Page way back in 2014. I thought this was the guy I'd never seen in the UFC. Went out there, beat a couple of guys in Bellator, and then got his opportunity to jump into the UFC. Got knocked out in the second round. I think Tim Means is going to elbow this guy to pieces, knock him out in the first 2 rounds. So I'm going to go Tim Means via TKO there. Lightweight division, Roosevelt Roberts against Darrell Horcher. And this is one I've kind of been going back and forward on a little bit, because I like what I see from Roosevelt Roberts. He's still, I think, pretty green, and he's got this kind of opponent in Darrell Horcher who's very experienced, considering who he's against. And the guys that he's fought some of the best guys in the world. He's fought the best guy probably in the sport, and he's fought some guys of the lesser caliber, like your, I want to say Alex Ricci, Felipe Nova, Devin Powell. But he's been in there with Khabib, and I thought he gave a pretty decent account of himself for what it was. It was a late notice fight at 160. Khabib just pretty much dominated him from pillar to post. Since then, obviously beat Devin Powell, lost to Scott Holtzman, who's making progressions in his game. You can definitely see that. With Roosevelt Roberts, he's a guy that, like I say, I still think he's super green, but there's some things in his game that I do like. I really do. I think he's got I think he can maybe out-muscle Darrell Horcher a little bit here and maybe ragdoll him a little bit. And that's how I think he could win this fight. I think he's shown in his wins over Tommy Aaron and Garrett Gross that he's got finishing ability. But when you look at those two guys, I mean, Garrett Gross, I have no idea why he was on the Dana White Contender Series, because he's got not the best record, I don't think, to be appearing on a show like that. And you've seen that he's got submission skills. So he's got a lot of finishes on his record. I think they're all finishes, I remember right. I remember watching 3 or 4 of his fights, even watching some of his amateur fights back in the West Coast Fighting Championships there. A lot of finishes on his record. I think this could be the first time, actually, that he goes to decision. I think Horcher's going to be a hard guy to get out of there. I think if he gets the back or he gets an opportunity to choke Horcher, he could get a finish. But this is a big step up from anybody he's ever faced. Because Horcher, he's got, not that he's the greatest fighter, but he's got a lot of experience and he's came through some tough situations, life situations as well. I am going to go Roosevelt Roberts via decision. Like I said, I think he can get a hold of him, get to the back, control him a little bit, and just predominantly win rounds through that. So I'm going to go Roosevelt Roberts via decision. Next on the card, we have this is a really good fight and one I've got my eye on. Joseph Benavidez, Alex Perez. This got made 2-3 weeks ago after the Benavidez fight got scrapped against Ray Borg. And it's just a fight I really like to see where Alex Perez is in his UFC career, or his fighting career, really, because he's a guy with a lot of experience. He's got like 25, 26 fights, super aggressive. I thought that fight with Jose Torres was going to be close. He went in there and beat the doo-doo out of Jose Torres. I mean, he really did. Torres was trying to fire back, but just the tenacity and the power of what we've seen for Alex Perez was really, really impressive. Before that, beat Eric Shelton fairly convincingly with takedowns. And then he submitted Carl John de Thomas before that. And now he's kind of wanted step up in competition, but is this too big of a jump? Because I still think that Joseph Benavidez is one of the best in the world, and I think if he shows up, he can say big brother Alex Perez. But I think the last time we've seen Joe B, that was the worst we've seen him. And even when you go back and watch that fight and you watch the scorecards, been right, even like Sergio Pettis was surprised that he won that fight. I genuinely think he thought he lost that fight. I went back and watched it again after obviously I watched it before the Borg fight. I actually think Pettis was probably the rightful winner in that one, where you watched the Cejudo one and maybe Cejudo was the rightful winner out there. So it's a little bit, who knows, but this I think could be the vet lesson for Alex Perez here, because like I say, he's had a lot of fights, a lot of experience, comes from a great camp at Team Oyama, but he is fighting someone in Joseph Benavidez who's only fought the best guys in the division, and he's won the majority of them, and the guys that he's lost to are the best champions at kind of lighter weight classes aside from Sergio Pettis. I think this is close. I really do. I think Benavidez might have an opportunity. I think both guys are really good grapplers, really good opportunistic submission artists as well. We've seen that back in the day from Joseph Benavidez. We haven't seen that in maybe 3-4 years. Tim Elliott was the last one that kind of springs to mind with that. But yeah, both guys opportunistic with their submissions. I think if Joe B was to get his back taken by Perez, I think he could be in a lot of trouble. But I think that I don't see where Perez, if he does try to initiate to get him to the ground, I don't think he gets him down. Maybe if he catches him with some strikes, he might get him down there. I don't think he really wants to be down on the ground with Benavidez. I think Benavidez would find his way back to his feet anyway. But striking battle, I think Benavidez is quick. I think that Perez obviously has some more power. We've seen the tenacity of him. But if this fight goes on 15 minutes, I just see Joseph Benavidez being just using all his experience and being the veteran that he is and getting in there and winning the fight. I'm a little bit I was thinking about betting Joseph Benavidez. His line was at like plus 125 when the lines came out. They shifted pretty dramatically in his favour. I think they've evened out at like minus 115 a piece. I would like to get that money, that Benavidez money, to like plus money if possible before even thinking about betting him. But close fight, good fight. I just think that this is the veteran lesson for Alex Perez here, where he's facing a guy who just fought the best caliber fighters in that division. I'm going to pick him. I think it could be close though. So, and I do really rate Alex Perez a lot. But I do think there's opportunities for maybe Joseph Benavidez to get a submission. So I'll go Benavidez decision. Yeah. Moving on. Oh, sorry, my computer just went. There we go. Rick Glenn, Kevin Aguilar up next. Another good fight. This could be another back and forward brawl. Aguilar, I think, is a guy who's kind of been deserved a UFC chance for a while. Got his opportunity here. Coming in on short notice. This was supposed to be Arnold Allen against Gilbert Melendez originally. Then Melendez pulled out. Then Glenn came in, and then Arnold Allen pulled out, and then Aguilar's getting his chance here. But he's a guy that I've been watching for years. I think it was the first time I seen him was the Leonard Garcia fight way back in Legacy. In fact, it wasn't. It was the one before that. I can't remember his opponent, but got into a little bit of a firefight with Leonard Garcia, and that's something you have to be very careful with that guy, because he can hurt you and he fires back pretty hard himself, and that's kind of what happened. Got knocked out with punches in that one. Since then, went on a run, all kind of pretty much finishes, except for the odd few there. Beat UFC vets and Damon Jackson. Taron Lee, who was an Ultimate Fighter show, who was the champion at that time, took him out in the first round. Don't think he looked his best against Joey Gomez on the Dana White Contender Series, but did enough to get the win there, and got his opportunity 4 or 5 months later after that fight to get himself the fight in the UFC here. Got a really big veteran opponent here in Rick Glenn, who I think's hard to look good against. I really do. I think he's a really top fighter who's got a lot of experience at a fairly young age. He's coming into like 30 years old with like 26, 27 fights, and really only loses to kind of good fighters himself. And can put on some like great fights. That Dunham fight was one that I forgot how good a fight that actually was, going back and watching it. But like I said, this is a guy I've been watching for the longest time through World Series of Fight. There was Bellator, I want to say, back in the day. Maybe not Bellator, it was World Series of Fight, actually. I think it probably was. I remember him losing to Lance Palmer, who I think is one of his main kind of training partners now. So, yeah, and since he's come into the UFC, I mean, he's got some decent wins. Felipe Nova and Gavin Tucker, he brutalized Gavin Tucker in that fight. I forgot how much he really beat his ass in that fight. And his losses, like I say, to Evan Dunham, Miles Jury, who just fought smart fights, especially Miles Jury, I should say, went in there and won the fight. And then he won a decision over Bermudez. I kind of agree with the decision. I thought he should have won that one. This is going to be close, though. I think that I'm going to pick Rick Glenn to win another close fight. I think I see this being like a back and forward brawl. I think the rounds are going to be very, very close. And yeah, I just think it's a shame that Arnold Allen wasn't going to be in this fight, because I think I would have liked him a little bit more. But like I say, Aguilar is very dangerous, packs a punch. I'm going to go Rick Glenn, but I'm not super confident. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really, really confident in that fight pick. Probably going to be a least confident pick there. So, yeah, I'm going to go Rick Glenn. Another close decision. Probably a split for me in that one. Moving on, we have Ji-Young Kim against Antonina Shevchenko. And this, for me here, I think is going to be I'm going to take a shot on Ji-Young Kim. Now, I'm probably going to catch some hate for this, catch some shit for it. But like I say, it's just my opinion. I think this ends up being a very, very close fight. And this is a clear step up for... is it? Yeah, it probably is a clear step up for Antonina Shevchenko. You've got to remember that she's had years of combat experience coming up. Muay Thai, kickboxing, whatever it is. Maybe her sister's a main training partner. And that's not a bad fighter to have on your side all the time. And the girl, especially Valentina's one of those girls that is always progressing in kind of every aspect, and has looked to better herself in every aspect. And just a pretty good fighter to striking base. I don't see much of the grappling out of her. But she won that fight in the Dana White Contender Series where she beat, I think it was Jeannie Rivera, that's it. Navarra it was, actually. And yeah, brutalised her, getting the clinch, threw some dirty knees up the middle and just absolutely wrecked her with that. Kickboxing record, I mean, I think she's there. Where did I see this? Saw the selling 39, 40-1. I think she's 40-1. So the girl's won a hell of a lot of fights. Very confident striker, puts her striking together well. Really accurate striker, not a hell of a lot of punches. Once she gets you into the clinch, she's very devastating, obviously, with knees and elbows and so on. But I think this is a step up for her in her MMA career. I do think it's a favourable matchup, as in Smith. I thought that was going to be an easier fight for her. I really did. I think this might be a bit harder because I think Yeon Kim throws a lot of output herself. She might be. Oh, see, now I'm thinking. I was going to pick Yeon Kim. I really was, but now I'm thinking if this is a stand-up battle. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually thinking about it now. I'm kind of the light bulbs kind of went. Where if this is the stand-up battle, then maybe the more cleaner, crisper striker in Shevchenko, who's maybe the smarter fighter. She's definitely got the better footwork. I think she might be given a reach advantage away here to Yeon Kim. And like, to be fair to Kim, I think she's a girl she could easily be 3-0 in the UFC, because that fight with Pedro was very, very close. Beat Justine Kish. I think Justine Kish actually won that fight. That might be me just spitballing because I bet Justine Kish. And then she went to the split with Melinda Fabian back in June. Yeah, I was gonna pick Yeon Kim. Now, if she comes into this fight and wins, I'll be pissed that I didn't stick with that. But thinking about it now, if it's I think the way to beat Antonina, you have to kind of mix it up well on the feet, but also have a takedown threat. I don't think that Yeon Kim's really got that. So predominantly it's going to be a striking fight, and got to go with a more, I think, well-rounded, better striker. And I think that is Antonina Shevchenko. So yeah, kind of makes a bit more sense to me now, thinking about it, instead of taking the shot on Yeon Kim. So Antonina Shevchenko via decision. Middleweight division, Darren Stewart against Edmen Shahbazyan. I find it hard to find any relevant kind of tape on Shahbazyan, except for the Dana White Tuesday night contender fight against Antonio Jones, I think it was. Just going by on Tapology, when you go back and you have to look into the fighter's aspects, like his caliber of opponent's not good. Probably his last fight against Antonio Jones was his best fight. And then when you go into the guys he's been facing, I mean, he's 7-0, but he's been facing guys with pretty deplorable records. I can't remember the one guy it was with like, I think like 60 fights, and he maybe lost like 40, I want to say. Then there's 1-4 guys, and there's 0-0 guys, and these are all guys he's faced within the last year. Comes from Glendale Fight Club. That means Edmonds his head coach. He's going to be a striker more than anything. You would reckon. I've not really dug too much into him. I don't know whether he's got like a judo background or so on, because we've had some of those guys that come out of that camp. Or Rousey, Parisian's been known to go into that camp a little bit. Back in, I think they're all the kind of Armenian guys are quite close. So, yeah, Darren Stewart, I think he's finally looks really, really solid in the UFC. Initially, when I seen him in the first in the UFC, I don't know whether he believed that he belonged there. Now I think he knows he belongs there. He's got that confidence after his wins against Eric Spicely. Charles Bird, nasty elbow against the cage, hurt him there. The fights with Julian Marquez, that was a bit of a firefight. He had aspects in that fight where he looked good, but ultimately was kind of outclassed. Carl Roberson went in there, gave it his all, got kind of choked out in the first round there. But I think he's realised he needs to step back, not kind of go, and like pick his shots a little bit better. I do think the guy's got some serious ground and pound. I think he will look for takedowns. Like I say, Edmen to me is just a guy that I don't know much about outside an amateur fight.
and the Dana White Contender Series fight. So, and like I say, Darren Stewart looks like he's found his feet a little bit, and he looks like he's definitely looks like he's got his confidence. I remember seeing him in Liverpool after that win, and he looked like that. Yeah, now he realizes he belongs in the UFC, and it looks like he's showed on further. And he's fighting again very quick after fighting at UFC 228. So I'll go Darren Stewart. I'll go ground and pound finish, round number 2. Moving on, bantamweight division. Pedro Munhoz against Bryan Caraway. Ooh. This is a tough fight. Bryan Caraway fights are always tough to me to pick the winner in, because the guy is so hard to look good against. He's scrappy. I like Munhoz a lot, and I know I'm going to be kind of talking shade on a fight. He completely dominated against Brett Johns, and Brett Johns showed a load of heart in that fight. But Pedro Munhoz, if you go back and watch that fight, you look at I was a little bit skeptical of his fight IQ in that fight. Was clearly outgunning Brett Guns on the feet, leg kicking him for days, destroying his legs, and then to me, when Brett was kind of flailing to the floor, hurting with his legs, he decided to jump on a leg lock instead of ground and pound, and I was like, dude, really? I know you're known for a tight squeeze and some of your submissions that you've shown us, but I think if you stood on it over this guy and just rained ground and pound, the referee would jump in and stop the fight. And that was a little bit of a light bulb thing that kind of went off for me when I was watching it. Just little things like that I noticed. But the guy is a slick fighter. Since he's went to ATT, he's looked really, really good. Looks like he's kind of moved up another level. But in saying that, he did lose to John Dodds in the fight before that, with wins before that against Rob Font. Nasty submission. Like I say, he's one of those guys, if you put your head in the wrong position, with this guy and he gets the opportunity to choke you, there's a good chance you go to sleep. And he's did that against Russell Doan, Justin Scoggins, Rob Font. But there's some fights like the Damon Staszak one where he didn't look great in that fight, still won fairly convincingly. And I mean, he only loses to top guys. Jimmy Rivera, Rafael Assunção, Dodson. I don't think he's a top guy anymore, but I think he's tough to look good against. That was a split. And I mean, with Bryan Caraway, he's coming off a split decision loss to Cody. What is that guy's second name? Stamen. Cody Stamen. Yeah, I've totally lost that for a second there. Where he had opportunities in that fight and just looked tough. He fights tough. He's coming through a lot of kind of personal adversity with, obviously, I'm not going to mention the Misha Tate stuff, but if you watch interviews, and I've been watching the James Lynch ones where his dad's got ill, he's still caring for, I think his nephew had an accident a few years ago. So he's had a lot of things on his mind, and obviously Robert Follis tragically dying, which is another thing which I think affected him pretty heavily. I think I'm going to take a shot on Bryan Caraway here. I think he fights close, but I'm trying to figure out and put it all together how he wins the fight, because I think he needs to look for takedowns and get it to the ground and control Munhoz, but Munhoz is super dangerous down there. So I think he has to be very, very vigilant in trying to get that to the ground. Now, I think he can, but like I said, he has to be super, super vigilant and watching where he places his limbs, because Munhoz will throw the legs up quick to look for arm bars. He will look to, if you initiate for a takedown, he will look for the neck to jump into your guard for a kick. So, yeah, I'm going to go Bryan Caraway to win via a split decision. And it could be a little bit controversial, where he doesn't look like he's winning the fight and he might actually get the judge's decision. But I don't know. I've got a funny feeling that Caraway is going to fight close in this one and he might get it. So Bryan Caraway for me, split decision win there. And moving on to the main event of the night, we've got Rafael Dos Anjos against the Nigerian Nightmare and Kamaru Usman. And yeah, I'm interested with this fight because I'm seeing a lot of like ridiculous stuff online and in forums, and I probably need to stop looking at trash like that. Dos Anjos is not going to win this fight because he's just fought Colby Covington, and Kamaru Usman is better than Colby Covington in all aspects of the game, which I don't think is true. I think Usman, if I was right now, if Colby and Usman were fighting, I'd pick Kamaru, but I think we've seen how good Colby Covington is in that fight with Rafael dos Anjos. I thought he put on a pace, which I don't think Usman can push on someone like dos Anjos. I really don't. I don't think he can push it, a pace like that for 25 minutes. I see this fight being a lot closer than what the Colby fight was. Because initially I think Colby looked pretty dominant in that fight actually against dos Anjos. Dos Anjos had his moments where he could have maybe made it a 3-2 kind of fight rounds-wise. But like the pace and the aggression of Colby Covington just kind of outdone him. I think when you look at the physical skills of what Kamaru Usman has, very, very strong, exceptional takedowns. He has got power. Don't think we see near enough of his power that he's got. And I don't think we've fully seen his full capabilities. I really don't. I think he makes stupid, like, comes out with stupid sayings like, I only fought at 33% of my potential, and that's, dude, you cannot come out and say stuff like that. You really can't. I think this is it his biggest fight? It is his biggest fight. The Maia fight was not a great fight. He looked dominant in that one, but Maia's on his pretty much, he's saying himself he's going to be moving out of the sport pretty soon. And he's got himself another tough fight here against dos Anjos. It's never easy to face against anybody. Like, the guy's only been knocked out or stopped a few times, 3 times in like 10 years. That was majority down at lightweight. And it's just really dangerous. But when you kind of match them up, I think he can. I think if I'm dos Anjos, I'd maybe try to chop him down a little bit, use leg kicks, just be careful of the hands of Usman. Not that he throws in bunches, but he's got power there. And if he catches you with a fast strike, he could maybe put dos Anjos on the back burner there and really start to hurt him. I think Usman will try and look for opportunities to get this to the ground or against the cage where he controls dirty box, knees in the clinch, maybe takes him down, gets him in the side, maybe just knees away at him. But for me, if I'm Kamaru Usman, I want to fight for the title soon. So I have to come out here and really put it on dos Anjos, get the finish. If you're going out there and just winning decision after decision after decision, I don't think you're going to get your title fights. I don't think Colby wants to fight him anyway. But if you want to get, say, to T-Wood, I think you're going to have to finish fights, then go after him through that. That's going to catch the eyes of the owners, the matchmakers, champions more than guys who's just going to fight to a decision, fight safe, come out here, just be a little bit more cautious, but still fight smart. And I think that's what he's going to do here. I think he's going to fight smart, and eventually I think he wears dos Anjos down. And if he can stop him, unlike what Colby could, that's a big feather in your cap as well. So I'm going to pick Kamaru Usman. I've seen the betting lines. Dos Anjos was a plus 300 dog. I don't think that's a bad bet at all, honestly. I don't think that line should be like that. I don't know what it is now. I've not had a look in the last 3-4 hours or whatever it was. But he was at plus 300 the last time I looked. Crazy, crazy odds. But I'm going to pick him to win. And like I say, if he wants a title fight, he needs to win via stoppage. So I'm going to give him an opportunity here to win via stoppage. I am going to go TKO in round number 3 or 4. I think he kind of chops down at, I think he just outworks, dos Anjos and just kind of tires him out a little bit. And then just the kind of big strength that what he has on his grappling, and kind of smothers him a little bit and maybe gets a stoppage via ground and pound. So Kamaru Usman is going to be my pick there. So that's my picks for the TUF 28 finale. I'll be back tomorrow for UFC Adelaide picks. Until then, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll be back very, very soon. All the best.